high in the desolate, craggy Himalayan mountains, thousands of meters above sea level, lives a creature that just embodies stealth and adaptation. The snow leopard.
Panthera uncia.
Imagine a shadow, just effortlessly floating across sheer rock faces and then disappearing instantly.
That's the perfect description for it, the ghost of the mountain.
Today, we're doing a deep dive to unpack the secrets of this ghost.
And it really is the ultimate survival story. We're focusing on how the snow leopard doesn't just, endure these conditions. It actually thrives in them, conditions that would defeat almost any other large predator.
So we're looking at the specific biological behavioral adaptations.
Exactly. The things that make them the true apex predator in the cold deserts of Central Asia.
And right off the bat, there's a surprising fact. Genetically, they're most closely related to the tiger.
Which is a huge piece of context, isn't it?
Yeah.
It tells you just how unique their evolutionary path was.
And they can't roar.
No. That's the key thing. Their larynx, it lacks the muscular structure for that deep, resonant sound you associate with big cats. It's an immediate signal that their evolution was shaped by something else entirely.
Okay, so let's unpack that. Let's start with their domain, their habitat.
Right. They're found exclusively in the mountains of Central Asia, and they're the largest cat in that whole incredibly cold habitat.
And most of them, a massive 60% of their range is in China.
Yeah, and when you look at where they live, the altitudes, you immediately see why they need these intense adaptations.
We're talking 3,000 to, over 5,000 meters above sea level?
Up to 5,400 meters, typically. So they're constantly operating in a low oxygen state that would, frankly, incapacitate most mammals.
Which raises the core question for this deep dive. How do they handle that thin air? What's the physiological cheat code?
It really comes down to internal efficiency. We know they have this unique tolerance. The World Wildlife Fund, they documented one at an astonishing 5,800 meters.
5,800. That's almost the height of Mount Kilimanjaro.
It is. So to survive that, their heart, their lungs, their blood, it all has to be hyper-efficient at capturing and circulating what little oxygen is even available.
And they don't just tolerate it. They actively seek out the roughest terrain, steep, rocky cliffsides.
It's purely strategic. That broken ground gives them perfect cover and these clear, commanding views. They can stalk prey from above, use gravity to their advantage.
The landscape is their weapon.
It is. Now, you mentioned the roar, or the lack of one.
Right. So what sound does the ghost of the mountain actually make?
Well, since they can't do the big roar, they have a whole catalog of smaller, closer range sounds. They growl, yowl, mew.
But the most distinctive one is this present sound, or...
Chuffing. Yes, chuffing. It's a non-threatening sound.
Right.
Sort of a breathy puff of air through the nose.
So it's like a friendly hello.
Think of it like that, a greeting between a mother and cub, or potential mates. It's what you evolve when you rely on avoiding conflict, not announcing your presence with a roar.
Which makes sense for a solitary animal. So if the body is built for isolation and the voice for intimacy, how does it survive temperatures that hit minus 40 degrees Celsius?
This is where the design becomes a marvel of biological engineering.
The armor of the wild.
Perfect way to put it. And the first line of defense is the coat, the fur. We are talking about staggering density here.
Over 60,000 hairs per square centimeter.
60,000.
And just to put that into perspective for you, the average human has about 3,000, so it's 20 times the density.
It just illustrates the sheer level of insulation you need to survive in that kind of deep freeze.
But the insulation isn't just external, is it?
Not at all. It's internal, too. They have an enlarged nasal cavity, a special chamber that warms that frigid air before it hits the lungs.
So it prevents internal thermal shock?
Exactly. It helps regulate their core temperature.
But doesn't that create another problem? If you're that insulated, don't you risk overheating when you're chasing prey?
That is the critical trade-off. And their hunting strategy seems to be the answer. It's all about short, high-intensity bursts followed by long periods of rest.
A sprint, not a marathon.
Precisely. They rely on surprise and that terrain advantage we talked about.
And moving across that terrain requires some serious athleticism. Their chest muscles are incredibly developed for climbing.
And they serve a dual purpose. They provide power, for sure, but they also act as built-in shock absorbers.
For the jumps.
For the jumps. When you leap across an icy granite cliff, you need to absorb that impact, or you risk a career-ending injury.
The design is just so refined. Even their ears, they're small and rounded to minimize heat loss.
And their paws, they're just perfectly engineered.
They're snowshoes.
Natural snowshoes. They're wide, covered in fur to distribute their weight. And that fur also protects the pads from the freezing ground.
Okay, let's turn to maybe their most iconic feature, the tail.
Ah, yes. The multi-tool. It can grow up to 1 meter long, which is nearly their entire body length.
So it has 3 essential jobs, right?
3 critical jobs for high-altitude survival. First, and most obviously, is for balance.
A dynamic counterbalance.
Right. When you're sprinting at 65 kilometers an hour across a steep slope, you need that tail as a rudder to stay stable.
And the second function is for when they're not moving, for surviving the cold nights.
It's a source of crucial thermal regulation. They wrap that thick, long tail completely around their face and body.
Like a built-in scarf.
A heated body pillow, yeah. It seals in heat and protects them from the wind chill.
And the third job.
It also acts as a fat storage repository, a vital energy reserve for when food is scarce.
Which leads us right to their hunting. What does dinner look like when you live 5,000 meters up?
Well, they're incredibly skilled, opportunistic hunters. They can take down prey up to 3 times their own weight.
Things like wild sheep and goats, the maror.
Exactly. And because those large animals are scarce, they have to maximize every kill. They'll make a large kill only once every 10 to 15 days.
And then stay on it for 3 or 4 days, consuming it all.
Nothing goes to waste.
We've had a really interesting detail about their teeth, though. Their canines are longer and sharper than you'd typically expect for a predator that goes for the throat.
This is one of those great mysteries, but the speculation is tied to their habitat.
The terrain again.
The terrain. A normal cat wants a quick, precise bite to the throat. But when you're chasing prey down a steep, icy slope, the angle of attack is always changing.
So bigger, sharper teeth give you a better chance of landing a fatal blow no matter the angle?
That's the theory. It's an insurance policy.
Yeah.
It also helps them penetrate the thick winter coats of their prey.
So let's shift to behavior. Why the name Ghost of the Mountain?
It really comes from their extreme elusiveness. It's a strategy of pure solitude. They are secretive, solitary, and just incredibly hard to track.
And their main asset for that is their camouflage.
It's perfect. That whitish-gray coat with hints of yellow and dark spots lets them just melt into the rock and snow.
They just disappear.
They do.
And because food is so scarce, they need enormous territories to find enough to eat.
Huge territories. We're talking anywhere from 65 to 1,000 square kilometers.
1,000 square kilometers for one animal.
And they patrol it constantly. Think about this. They can travel 40 kilometers in a single night.
Which is almost a marathon.
A marathon over jagged rock and ice, with massive elevation changes. It might be the most astonishing statistic of all.
So with these huge ranges, what about the next generation?
Well, mating happens in the winter, and the females give birth in the spring. But the cubs are completely dependent on their mother for the first 2 years.
2 full years. That's a long time.
It's crucial in that environment. They need that time to master the complex hunting techniques and territorial navigation they'll need to survive on their own.
So finally, let's talk about their status. Counting ghosts has to be difficult. What does the conservation picture look like?
The current estimate is somewhere between 4,500 and 7,500 snow leopards in the world.
That's a pretty wide range.
It is, because they're so hard to find. The good news is they are protected in most of their range and are currently classified as vulnerable.
Vulnerable, not endangered.
Right. But they are far from safe. Their classification really depends on us managing the threats to their very specific high-altitude world.
And what are those main threats? The sources mentioned habitat loss, human conflict.
And climate change. For them, habitat loss means things like mining or new roads pushing livestock deeper into their territory.
Which leads to the human-wildlife conflict.
Exactly. When a snow leopard preys on livestock, it can lead to retaliatory killings by herders. That's a major challenge for conservation.
And climate change, which can feel so abstract, must be very concrete for an animal living at the top of the world.
It is. It's causing the tree line to shift up the mountains. This shrinks the habitat for their prey, forcing the leopards even higher. It's effectively shrinking their world from the bottom up.
So to recap, we've got extreme altitude tolerance, incredible fur density, a multi-tool tail for balance and warmth, and they're the apex predator that can't roar.
Their entire existence is a masterclass in adapting to one of the planet's harshest environments. The snow leopard is a perfect example of evolution meeting extreme demands.
Which brings us to a final provocative thought for you, the listener. We know they're built to disappear. We know they have these massive 1,000 square kilometer ranges. Given how hard they are to find, how confident can we really be in that number of 4,500 to 7,500?
It's a great question.
It makes you wonder. When a species has perfected the art of invisibility, do our methods for counting wildlife even apply? How many of these magnificent ghosts have we missed entirely?